guys, I'm Deepthi and today's video is gonna be a top 10 under 1000 rupees. I've started this as a series on my channel, so there is already a video up on my channel that is top 5 under 500. I think there's another one that is top 30 under 300 rupees as well. I don't know if it's already up by the time I'm filming this video. Of course, I'm not going to be stopping with just this one video. There are going to be more videos coming up very soon. I already have a list of other products that I want to include in this. There's a bunch of this that's going to be popping up on my channel, so stay tuned for that. So firstly, I will be talking about a primer. You guys know I hardly talk about any primer on my channel. It's because I never use primers, but this one is the Health Hydrating Primer. This is really affordable as well. This was for I think 650 rupees or something like that, and this is a 14 ml bottle. I was never the kind of person to use primers at all on my face, but when I started to try out more matte foundations like the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundations, I really wanted a primer that is hydrating on my face. So this one is almost greasy on your face and it forms a film on your face, so it doesn't let the moisture underneath it escape, so you can use a more matte foundation on this. Now this is not pore filling by any means. It's not going to fill in your pores, it's not going to fill in any lines on your face, but it's just a hydrating primer. So if you have very dry skin and you're looking for a good hydrating primer, I think you should try this one out. I think this primer is very underrated. Not a lot of people talk about this, but if you have dry skin and you're looking for something that is a little bit hydrating on your skin but not too hydrating in the sense it's going to make you look oily or greasy, then you can try this one out. The next one I'm going to be talking about is a foundation. This is the PAC HD foundation. This is like one of my favorite foundations. I love the Milani Conceal and Perfect foundation. I also love this one. I use both of like differently. When I want my skin to look more matte and I want my makeup to last a lot longer, I go for something like the Milani Conceal and Perfect. But when I want my skin to look flawless, especially in photography, or if I'm filming something, I want my face to look a little bit flawless, I go for this. It has that almost blurring effect on the skin and I really enjoy this foundation. Today I have this on my face, but I have mixed it in with another foundation because this is too light for my skin right now because I am tan and because it's summer, it's not my summer shade. So I have mixed it in with a darker foundation just to see how the concoction works. That's one thing that I like to do. I don't like to stick to just one foundation. I like to mix it in with other foundations just to see how both of that is going to work. So this is one of my favorite foundations to mix with other foundations. And another foundation that I really like to mix with most of my foundations is the LA Girl, the HD Illuminating Foundation, because that is really dewy. So when I find that my face is a little too flat and matte, I like to mix that one up just to give a subtle glow. But nonetheless, I do really like this. You can get this on Amazon and I think on Nykaa, but all the shades are always sold out pretty much every time, so there's no point even checking that website. And also on the PAC website, but there is no COD there. So this is a foundation that I highly recommend for people with I think all skin types. If you are oily skin, you have to set it with a very good powder, otherwise you're going to look really oily very soon. But if you have dry skin or normal skin, I think you would really like this foundation. Of course, it's not hydrating on the skin or anything of the sort. You have to exfoliate your skin really well. You have to moisturize it pretty well to get that flawless finish, but once you do, it looks amazing. The next one I'm going to be talking about is a powder. This is the NYX HD powder in the shade Banana. Now this is the powder that I've used to set my under eye concealer and on the lines on my forehead. Now that is one thing that I've noticed, that every time I use the PAC HD foundation, these lines that are there on my forehead are not that visible and it doesn't peek through very quickly as opposed to any other foundation. Once I put foundation on my face, I like to set those lines with a powder like this. It's a banana shade, but it looks almost white because this is supposed to be suitable for people with lighter skin tones, so it's like that perfect banana shade for them. The reason I like this is because it's really brightening underneath the eyes. It looks almost white with a little bit of yellow tint, and the way it blends on the skin is seamless and it looks amazing underneath the eyes and on the forehead line. I just use it in this area just to brighten it up a little bit and underneath my eyes, but I don't use it for the rest of my face because it's not the right shade for me. For the rest of my face, I usually like to use this Lakme 925 Primer Plus Matte Powder Foundation. This one is the right shade for me. I got this one in the shade Silky Golden. I always like to go a shade lighter for my compact because some foundations do oxidize on my skin, so I like to go in with a lighter powder because then it gels well, because even powders do oxidize and then everything ends up looking too dark and grey and ashy on the skin. So I like this. So it almost blends into my skin really well and it's a very light coverage to the skin, doesn't cake up all that much. It's not too clingy on the skin and it doesn't feel heavy on my skin. Of course, just this adds a very light coverage, but the best way that I like to use this is over a foundation, and I use this mostly with a sponge, which is also one of the products that I would like to mention in top 10 under 1000, which I'll get to in a bit. I don't know how well it controls the oil on my face. I'm not of a very oily skin type, I'm of a normal skin type, so for me it's the perfect powder. Like, it sets everything well, it gives almost like a natural finish on my skin, not too cakey, not too powdery. So for me it's a really nice powder, and I think even if you have a little bit dry skin, I think you would still get away with it. But if you have very oily skin, I'm really not sure how that's gonna look on your skin. The next one I'm going to be talking about is a face palette. This is the Maybelline Master Contour Palette in the shade medium to deep. Now this is the palette that I have on my face. I have this highlighter on my skin, but I have mixed it in with another highlighter, which I will be mentioning in a bit. This is a blush which is a little bit too sheeny for my liking. These days I use these kind of blushes when I am filming and my highlighter is not too intense and I want to add a little bit of sheen to my skin. I use these kind of blushes, but I would never wear something like this in real because it emphasizes too much pose texture on my skin. Again, this one is a very nice bronzer shade. I wouldn't necessarily contour with this because it's too red based. I mean, it has a very strong red undertone to it, so for me this is more of a bronzer, and as it is I don't really contour my face, and I also sparingly bronze my face these days. For the sake of this video, I have added the bronzer on my face. It blends in really well. It gives a very nice sun-kissed effect to the skin. It is very pigmented, so I did use a very light hand with this, but it looks really nice on the skin, and I don't mind the red undertone to it because I use a very light hand with it. But if you go in and if you go ham with this product, you can definitely see the stark red undertone. I would suggest this contour palette for medium to medium tan skin tones. I don't know if this would even show up on deeper skin tones, even though it's mentioned that it's a medium to deep palette. So I would draw the line at medium tan, and it's a very nice palette. I do recommend this, especially if you are someone who likes like sheeny blushes, because then you get all three products that you really like. Even though I don't really like this blush shade, I don't regret buying this palette because I get a lot of use out of these two products. And this is the bronzer that I have added in my crease today, and I do really use this a lot. You can see by how messed up the palette is. Whenever I use a product too much, you can see that all the powders are all over the palette. The next product I'm going to be talking about is a highlighter. This is the Pack Baked highlighter. This is in the shade 02. Now, I had no expectations for this, like I mentioned in my best and worst of highlighters video as well, and I was like, okay fine, another Pack product that is so hyped. Even though the foundation is something that I really like and it's one of my favorite foundations, I still didn't have any hope for this product. But once I applied it to my skin, I was like, I get it. I get why it's raved about so much. It's the highlighter that I have on my face mixed in with this highlighter. Amazing. It's really intense, and of course you can go in with a very light hand and add it very subtly on the skin. It does emphasize the texture a little bit, not too much. It does have shimmer particles in it, but it's not glittery, and it's one of the best highlighters that I've tried. I do really like it. It comes with a mirror, which is a decent quality mirror. I mean, the price of this is $8.50, but you have to pay 50 rupees additional for shipping if you're buying it from Amazon. I don't know if Nykaa has this shade even, because they don't really have all the Pack products, and of course you can get it from the Pack website again, but I think you have to pay for shipping there as well. So the next product I'm going to be talking about is the eyeshadow palette. This is the Maybelline City Mini palette in the shade Rooftop Bronzes. This was launched about, I want to say, a month or two ago on Nykaa, and this one is priced at 750 rupees, but you do get it for much lesser price, and it's a mini palette, so it's really small, and you get 6 shades in this. All of it is shimmery. It's really small, as you guys can see. It's like really tiny, so you can travel with this. All shimmer shades, so you don't really have a matte shade, and that's the reason I had to go in this palette and use it as a transition shade, because I can't do shimmer as transition shade. It's just me. I really don't like any shimmer on my crease, so that's the reason. And today I used this shade all over my lid, and I used this one sort of in the inner corner, and these two shades mixed in the outer corner of my eye. You get a very basic eye look with this. You're not gonna get like the most dramatic eye look or anything of the sort. Sometimes I feel like all of these shades blend into each other and kind of give you like one look. So I think it depends on the way you're gonna use it. If you're gonna start mixing up eyeshadows like I did, then you're gonna get this like one color, because I can't see any kind of different eyeshadows that I used on this. If you're gonna use it sparingly, I think like 1 or 2 shades, I think you can get the demarcation of these eyeshadows. Some shades are not as pigmented as the others. Like this golden shade is super pigmented, as you guys can see, and they work better if you wet these eyeshadows because you can get the full intensity of this. Today I used just my fingers to apply these eyeshadows, so I didn't really wet it or anything of that sort. I just wanted to do it quickly and start filming this video. But if you use a good flat shader brush and some makeup spray, you can get the intensity out of this. But it's a decent palette for any beginner or anyone who's looking for just warm eyeshadow palettes. Even though there's no matte shades in this and you're not bothered about that, but you're looking for quality and a decent price tag and warm eyeshadows in it, I think you would really like this. I've seen so many people create amazing looks with this, and so that's what it actually depends on your skill as well. So the next product I'm going to be talking about is the Milani Amore Matte Lip Cream in the shade Loved. I have swatched this in another video. It's an amazing shade for Indian skin tones. It's so pretty on the lips. It's not that typical nude where you look washed out or you have to do too much to look awake. This and a little bit of kajal or eyeliner or mascara is enough and you won't look dead. And it has intense pigmentation. It dries down completely matte, so it can be a little bit drying. So if you're afraid of products that dry your lips out, you should stay away from this, but I can handle it. It's a beautiful shade. The next one I'm going to be talking about is like a skincare product, which I must say does a world of a difference to my skin. This is the Juicy Chemistry Helicosim, I don't know what that word is, and Rosehip Cell Construction Serum. This, oh my god, if you just apply this after your cleanser, toner, whatever, your skincare, you're gonna have the most amazing skin ever. It adds a really nice glow to your skin. It makes it look really soft and supple, looks really nice, and definitely a very noticeable difference. I have definitely received compliments from a lot of people that my skin looks amazing. So try this one out. It's 100% organic, so you're not going to be putting on any harmful chemicals to your skin, and the price tag is pretty decent as well. It's 550 rupees or something like that, so that's not very expensive, and you get 10 ml of product in this. You have to use very little of it, just 2 drops for your entire face and neck. Don't go overboard with it because it has a very strong rose scent to it, so just use very little of it. So the last one I'm going to be talking about is a tool. This is the YBB Makeup Perfector. This is in the variant Lust. They have another one which is a white one, and that is right now on discount for 20% off. So if you want to pick that one up, it's for about 850 rupees. This is for 999, which when I first got it, it was more expensive. It was for about 1200. Now they've priced it at 999. An amazing tool that I've discovered. When I first made that beauty blender dupes video, I was not very impressed with it, but ever since then I've been using it so much, and I reach for this even over the original beauty blender. It gives a perfect flawless base. It shears it out just to the right extent. The beauty blender sometimes absorbs too much product, so I end up using a lot more foundation to get the kind of coverage that I want, but this gives me the exact coverage that I always keep in my mind. Like, this is the coverage that I want. It gives me that perfect coverage where it's almost full coverage, way above medium coverage, but not too cakey on the skin. I use this for my foundation, I use this for my concealer, I use this for any cream products on my face, and it blends it out perfectly. Only thing with this is when you wash it, you need a lot of effort to get rid of all the product that is there in this. You'll keep squeezing and squeezing. You'll be like, how much of product is hidden inside this tiny little sponge? But it's an amazing product, and it hasn't worn off even a little bit, even though I use it so much. So the quality of this is amazing, and you get this container which you can store it in, and which I really appreciate. I mean, a lot of thought has gone into this product. Every time you store this, even if it's wet, it's not going to get that mold on it because it has air holes here. You can close it and leave it like that, so it's dust free. And on this lid, I always mix all my foundations. Every time I want to make a concoction of my foundation, I use this lid. It's so ergonomical, it's so efficient for daily use. So I spoke a lot. Those were all the products that I really like that are under 1000 rupees, and you should definitely be checking out. So of course I'm going to be coming up with the part 2 on this series. So if you have any other video recommendations as well, leave it in the comment section down below, and if I can, I will film it for you guys. And don't forget to watch my other videos. I'll link it right here. I'm pretty sure that you'll find this very helpful. So if you want to save your money and you're looking for some honest reviews, definitely be checking this one out. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, because I'm sure, 100% sure, you are not going to regret that. So I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.